What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the Precinct. I didn't want to let this get too close to coming out before I made a video on it. Obviously, kind of stiff competition. At the time of release, I think it comes out 2 days or so before Doom the Dark Ages, and, that kind of middle to end of May is a little packed, but this is a game that's pretty much coming out everywhere, the Xbox platforms, PS5, PC, and I've had my eye on this game for a couple years, I guess, at this point, and, this is just, I think, a classic example of a game that as soon as you see it, it kind of just has a vibe of its own, right? It kind of just shows you within a couple seconds of what kind of makes it special and kind of makes it different. And then if you've been watching it over enough of a amount of time, you can actually see, I think, the improvements and just how this game has really rounded into form. Now, I've tried to watch a lot of the more recent trailers, but I'd seen stuff even going back years, and this game, I believe, was supposed to come out last year, and it actually got delayed pretty significantly, but it looks so freaking good. I watched a demo build that Game Riot did on his channel, and the game just looks awesome. It gives off those like GTA Chinatown War type vibes, a police sim mixed with a GTA, and it's got kind of the element of where the game is going to randomly, generate some stuff for you in terms of what kind of crimes are being committed, but then it's got like a legitimate, single player campaign. There's things you can do in the free roaming of, arrests. You can go on foot. I feel like when the game was initially shown, or at least when I first started to look into this game, it was more advertised, at least. Maybe it was never this way, but it just seemed like it at the time. They're like, okay, this is going to be a game that you were constantly in a car. Not that you could never get out, but like you were, for a lot of the game, going to be in a car. And again, I think a game like this really shows, okay, you just give it enough time, and it can really evolve into something quite cool, because it really looks like a jack-of-all-trades type game. The car stuff looks awesome, right, in terms of, kind of keeping with the law, kind of looking out for, like, who's breaking the law, but then kind of going through the process, right? Like, you have to do the right steps. You can't just, like, arrest somebody just because you want to arrest them. Or maybe you can, but there would be punishment to it, right? There's, like, steps you actually have to do to run somebody's badge and to pull them over and all that stuff. You can get into car chases. You can get into helicopter chases. When you're doing a car chase, you can request helicopter support / other kind of ground support. When you're in a helicopter, you can request ground support and other types of support. So, it's got the chase type atmosphere. It's got, again, I guess that simulation type cop experience, right? Where you're going around and these things are just going to auto simulate where people are going to be breaking the law and you catch them. There's also gunplay, and the gunplay, I think, actually looks really, really cool. A bit simplistic for sure, right? The aiming mechanics and just how it works, but it looks like a lot of fun. The story looks like it's going to be kind of cool. It looks like a very well-rounded game, and I think it's got a very appealing art style to it. I think it looks very, very beautiful, and that's another thing that you can kind of tell from trailer to trailer and year to year that the game, that polish, right? And again, everything kind of coming into form, but the visuals also included. I don't know. I think what I said in the very beginning is actually what I would kind of like to end with. It's just a game that feels a little bit different, right? It stands out, but also reminds you of like different things you've seen. Like, I don't know if it's going to be a wholly original experience. I'm sure we've played something similar to this in the past, but I think it's taking a couple of really cool concepts from a couple different games and putting them together and trying to be, like I said, especially as time has gone on, a pretty well-rounded version of cop simulator, chases, arrests, going on the, just being like a character on the ground, chasing people like that, tackling them, putting them on the ground, arresting them, having shootouts, having a story. Like, there seems to be quite a bit going on with this game, and it really looks like it's rounding into form. So I just wanted to kind of shout it out, and it's been something that I've been looking at, and even from a content creator, I actually think I was on a list like to potentially get the code, and this is a part of the reason why I remember it. It was getting closer and closer, and I was like on a list where it's like, okay, you're being considered for a code, and then I saw separately, the game was delayed kind of massively, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll wait. And again, I think time is going to be this game's friend, because I think every time we've seen it, it's just gotten better and better. I hope it stands out, because I don't think it's on a subscription service of any kind. Not that that's a be-all, end-all, but it is a way of getting eyes on you. And again, I think it comes out just a few days before Doom. Doom is also a very well-rounded, and has a lot of eyes from a lot of different people on a game like that. I just hope this game can kind of stand out, around the exact same time. But I hope to cover it, and if you guys want me to cover it, I'll cover it even more. You let me know. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.